The following audio is via a Skype call.
Welcome to LoveLight-Sound Radio, aligning and consciously creating your life with host Suzanna Jamieson on Transformation Talk Radio. Follow Suzanna as she channels dynamic frequency encodings of sound and light that initiate clearing, activation, balancing, and alignment with a new vibration of well-being. Allow your higher vibrational self to unfold on LoveLight-Sound Radio. Transformation happens here now.
Wow. Hey, everybody. I'm Dr. Pat, and I get to hang out with the coolest people. I really do. I was talking with someone this morning, and they were asking me, what it is about what I do that I love most. And they said, is it the notoriety? Is it the visibility? And I'm like, notoriety? What? I don't even know what you mean. And I said, I get to share time with people that are changing the world. And I said, not just people like Suzanna Jamieson, who's joining me here today, but our listeners. Our listeners are change agents for good in the world, all of you. And I get to do that. And, when I think about what I thought my life was going to be, this kind of joy was not part of it. It was not in there. So you've heard me say, God is smarter than a fifth grader. God, spirit, Allah, whatever you believe in, is smarter than a fifth grader. But today's show is all about that. I did not do this alone. I came out of the gate not knowing anything. And what I realized is if I was not going to invest in myself or invest in a mentor or set the stage to hire a team, I would not be able to show up the way all of you deserve me to show up. I wouldn't. And today, Suzanna Jamieson is one of those experts that works with people all over the world so that we can show up absolutely phenomenally, and we lead with transparency about who we are and what we do. And then before we know it, our life is easier, more fulfilling, because today it's introducing number 5 of the 5 shifts. Invest in expert mentoring. I have 5 mentors today. And one of them is a rotating mentor. Because why? I have a vision for the world, and you deserve me. All of you deserve me to show up 200% for all of you. And anything less than that is a cop-out. Suzanna, great to have you here.
Oh, lovely. Well, that was quite a passionate intro here. And I couldn't agree more. It's my personal experience also. I'm very clear that I wouldn't be where I'm at if it hadn't been for the coaches and mentors that have always kind of gotten me to the next step, And I mean, invested in myself, yeah, plenty, plenty more than this. And as I think you were kind of saying also, it's an ongoing process. Like I am still working with mentors because for me, it actually never stops. There's always more to expand into. It's more to open into, and whatever supports me in that momentum or in that movement, I'm right there. And it's for me, it's the same thing. It's like, how can I be my best self? How can I live my highest potential? How can I make sure on my end that I'm showing up, available to serve in whatever way, shape, or form life wants me to, but coming from my best self, and so never-ending story. I totally agree.
Yeah, no, it is. But, let's talk about this for a minute in the context of what you've created. You see, we're not just talking about being able to show up as people that are passionate about our own work and what we're trying to do. We're on a mission. I mean, you have created one of the most incredible, beautiful platforms, right? when I think about love, light, sound, when I think just about those words, love, light, sound, and on the show, you have shared this. You know, we have done meditations, we have done ways for love, light, and sound to be transmitting an energy and vibration of change. You built this, and now you work with people all over the world because we now know the power of everything being energy, and sometimes our energy is stuck, right?
Yeah.
So let me ask you this question. We are creatures of habit, right? There's a reason it takes 5 people, 5 mentor experts to work with me. I've had a lot of years to create habits that aren't going to get me where I want to go. And so let's look at what it is that keeps us stuck from your perspective and what is needed to move.
Yeah, I love the question. And, you know, obviously it's a big one and it's a very general one. And here's why. You know, we're creatures of habit because we're biologically and naturally wired by one from our brain and also from our bodies to be as life conserving as possible, meaning, you know, the less energy we need to expend to get us from A to B, the better, right? So basically, we're like innate couch potatoes. If we don't have to do anything and we can still survive, great, you know? So right. That's where we're coming from. And so, and then in addition to, so that is just the physical kind of conserving energy aspect, right?
Yeah.
And because, you know, obviously, and to that extent, we're still kind of in caveman time. You had to conserve the energy because when that saber-toothed tiger showed up, you better had plenty reserves left so that you got your life saved, right? But right. We're not in that position anymore, right? But, you know, and the whole stress story is a different one and the opposite. But, you know, just saying, so let's just, you know, just biologically, our system is like, oh, God, don't have to do anything. Great. You know, let's just chill. Right. So that's the one aspect. Now, our brains, in addition to that, are wired to keep us safe. And keeping us safe means staying with the known. You know, whatever is known, that feels kind of safe.
It's
you know,
safe.
It's safe
comfortable.
Because that
comfortable.
It's
It's also very comfortable at some level until it stops being comfortable.
Well, and yeah, but then, you know, that kind of wiredness in the brain, Pat, makes also why, for example, we're staying so long or over long in abusive relationships.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I mean, we're not talking comfort anymore here, and it's not fun. You know, there is hurt on various levels, and we're still sticking to it because it's what we know, usually because we're already kind of been programmed or imprinted in childhood, right? Like we've taken on those patterns from what we've seen, you know, our parents, like how they interacted and things. So for us, it's like, oh, this is what love looks like, you know? And even if it hurts, it's like, it's the known. And it's always, for some reason, our brain, in order to keep us safe, is like anything new, each time you have to take a step out of your comfort zone, it feels edgy. You're like, I'm not sure. You know, who knows what's going to happen? You just don't know, right?
Right.
And that is what keeps us once in the comfort zone, things like TV, potato chips, couch, or abusive relationships, or that job, you know, which we hate, but, you know, at least we know, you know, we're there at 8, it's over at 5, you know, and then whatever, right? But it's this kind of, okay, know it, you know, and I mean, everyone, I'm sure, it's like, even if you make a seemingly minor decision about buying something, or like, you know, am I going to go to this party or not? You know, there is this initial, you know, anticipatory anxiety or fear that sometimes can be a bit of an excitement or a thrill, but basically it's coming from the same thing. It's something unknown. It's new. I don't know what's going to happen. And so there's this tiny scare factor in that. Now, the bigger the decision, like the more life-changing we're, you know, perceiving a decision to be, the more it feels like, oh my goodness, I'm standing here at the edge of the cliff, and if I take one step forward, I'm just gonna drop. You know, basically that's the end of it, right? And so, that's what we kind of need to take in, or, the perspective we need to be coming from.
Yeah. And, this is really part of it really kind of jumps back to what I started talking about earlier. And that is, today we're talking about, this idea of why it's so challenging to transform your life on your own. And it really is. And, sometimes we need a sounding board. We need somebody that's neutral. We need somebody we can trust, because we want to be able to, even if we cannot have a guarantee about the action or the move that we're taking, we at least want to know somebody's in our corner. At least that's the way I've felt over time. How about you?
Yeah, I agree. And I feel also like I agree with everything you said, have a sounding board, have someone where you actually know they're holding space for you as they can see you in your evolution. Plus, if you choose someone that you not only trust, but you also know they've actually been there.
Yes.
They've been through it. I mean, they know how it works, basically, right? And they're talking from experience. It's not someone who has read like a nice story in a book, or like did a few study courses at a university, right, with no life experience, but they've actually been through the crap, right? And they also know how difficult it can be at times. They know it's not all fun, and they can hold the space for you even when it's rough. Plus, they also, from their experience, and if you have someone who has an empathic quality, on top of that, they can actually feel what you're going through, and they can point out your blind spots. How often have we had that? We were kind of so invested in our story that we're completely blind to what's really, potentially going on, or we're just not having the same perspective. It's tunnel vision, right? This is our scenario, and there is no, So, for me, it's about opening perspective.
Yeah, I love this conversation because, this is a journey, right? Every day is a new piece of the puzzle. It's a new journey. Some people have predictive abilities where you can kind of predict. But most of us have some sort of intuition. But in the end, every day is a call to an action or many actions in order for us to do what we call living. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk with Suzanna about one very important thing. And that is, what is it that we do that keeps us a little bit stuck, even if we think we're doing it in the spirit of transformation? And then how do we infuse information so that it's helpful and doesn't go stale before you even open the book up? Let's take a short break, everyone. We'll be right back. Suzanna Jamieson's in the house. We've got something cool to share with you. We'll be right back.
Tune in to Lucid Planet Radio with Dr. Kelly Neff. This hit show will illuminate your senses and empower you beyond your daily stressors and hardships. Renowned psychologist and author Dr. Kelly will captivate you with far-reaching topics and amazing guests as you wake to the greatest version of yourself. Learn to tap into your intuitions, think critically about our world, heal emotional and psychological wounds, and follow your passions to live your dreams. The Lucid Planet. Welcome home. Visit lucidplanetradio.com for more information.
Tune in to E3 Influence Radio. Own your impact. Master your world. In this new hit show, Sarah Luce, empowerment coach and spiritual mentor, teaches us how to achieve our greatest potential to positively affect everything and everyone. The time is now to enlighten our minds, empower our hearts, and take energized action to raise the consciousness of our planet. Sarah shows us how with simple, easy-to-implement steps. To find out more about Sarah Luce and her E3 Influence program, visit sarahluce.com.
Interested in deepening your spiritual practice? The School for Esoteric Studies offers online training to spiritual seekers from all paths of life and individual coaching. Our courses synthesize Eastern and Western spiritual traditions based on meditation, study, and service applied to everyday life. To learn more about our courses and services, please visit www.esotericstudies.net.
Are you done being afraid to jump into the life that's waiting for you? Are you ready for a real shift? I invite you to tune in every Tuesday with me, Tracy L., on the Tracy L. Clark Show, where we will teach you how to live your extraordinary life. At 8 a.m. Pacific on Transformation Talk Radio, where I will provide the tools and the steps needed to help you transcend perceived limitations and move forward with an extraordinary life. For more information, visit me at tracylclark.com.
To see your life from an angel's perspective, book a personal consultation with Claire Candy Huff, angelic walk-in angel Ariel at Angel Healing House. Candy provides intuitive counseling, Reiki, and angel readings in person in Los Angeles or nationally and internationally via phone or Skype. She will channel the practical tools you need to transform your life. Call now, 831-277-3716, or visit angelhealinghouse.com.
Are you ready to stop stress, anxiety, and low self-esteem from running your life? Join award-winning author Dr. Friedemann Schaub for Empowerment Radio and learn breakthrough solutions to switch out of survival mode and approach every day with great ease, joy, and purpose. Tune in the first and third Wednesday at 11 a.m. Pacific to Empowerment Radio with host Dr. Friedemann Schaub on Transformation Talk Radio. Visit thefearandanxietysolution.com to learn more.
Welcome back, everyone. It's so wonderful to be able to speak with people that, aren't really just sharing their gifts because this is something they decided to do for a career, but have been at the places that we've been at. And Suzanna Jamieson is one of those folks. And as a result of that, she's created workshops, one-on-one sessions, but all in the spirit of love, light, sound healing, and much more. Suzanna, let's take a minute, if we could, and let folks know how they can find out more about you. But also, you're creating workshops, you're creating special ways for people to get help. Tell us about what you have now that you've created and a little bit about your vision.
Yeah, thank you so much for that opportunity, Pat. And right now, there's quite a bit going on, actually. I'm currently participating in a summit, the Ignite Your True Purpose Summit. And on my personal page, you can find out about it. And my interview is up on August 4. I also have a free workshop gift on my website that you're welcome to check out. Really precious. It tells you a bit more about how I work and you can see for yourself if that resonates with you. I also, on my personal Facebook page, you can friend me there. I have 2 free gifts for people to actually experience love, light, and sound healing in a card deck I've created, and also some vocal samples for people to download. And I'm in the finishing touches for the email sequence, so this is going to be up today. So if you click on that link tomorrow, you should be fine. But you can already watch the masterclass, the free masterclass that I have on that personal page too. So welcome there. And I do have a that's actually not free. It's a live weekend intensive that I have coming up. Super excited about that.
Wow.
I have a flight. It's very intense. It's called True Intimacy. And basically, moving through connecting with yourself first and then connection with the other, and experiencing your true, feeling, sensations and everything around that. And, it's very great for couples also. So I have already a few couples signed up for this. And depending on if people are open to this, we're also going to look at polarity, sexual polarity in our relationships. So that's another aspect of intimacy. However, I'm coming at this through heart connection first. So it's basically creating intimacy through heart connection and then going into the, sexual polarity. It's fun. And it's not all, it's a pretty intense weekend workshop and not for the faint of heart. And it's mostly exercises or practices. So it's very active. It's not like I'm lecturing today. So it's like you're on, in that workshop, you're on. But it's basically for the participants, it's an exploration. It's a constant exploration of what is happening here? How am I being in the world? Like, you know, it's a really exciting opportunity. So, and I have a special until the end of the month. It's you can find infos on my website also. There's a flyer and application form. So go by all means. You know, amazing. And go ahead.
It just ties into what we're talking about today. You know, at some point in time, you know, hopefully sooner rather than later, you realize that you really do need some support along the way to really become the person you want to become or do what you want to do in the world. And you've really opened up the door for people to do that.
Various levels. Yeah. Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about what I was saying. I mean, clearly, you know, early on, I read a lot of books. I really thought that, you know, I could pick this up here or pick this up there. But quite honestly, I probably in the early days bought more books than I actually opened and, you know, and thought I was making progress. So let's talk a little bit about how we move forward in an attempt to make the changes, but the things we're selecting are just not doing it, right?
Mm-hmm. I love your honesty with this, you know, and I'm sure a few people can relate or maybe have that experience too. And it's not that books or self-help books are bad or that they don't give you anything. You know, obviously there's intellectual knowledge or understanding that is being conveyed about a certain life circumstance. So you kind of, you know, it's sometimes like these aha moments of like, oh, this is why this is happening, or this is why people treat me like this, or this is why this is happening to me. Now, the thing is, though, it stays here, you know, and then it goes like the next step is like, let's say you have really a great book that actually has practical exercises, right? I mean, for most of us, if we're honest, it's like these New Year's resolutions when it's like, I'm so going to get into this like next week or this weekend or even tomorrow, then tomorrow never comes, right? And so it's like, it's a sense of lulling ourselves into a security. Oh, I have this wonderful knowledge like right there on my shelf whenever I need it. So, you know, I just need to grab it when it gets really dire, right? But nothing is happening in between. And the book on the shelf or any kind of, you know, course is not going to help you unless you actually do it, you know. So that's just how it is. And that's actually, I don't know if I mentioned that, Pat, but I actually created an online course to accompany my book, you know, The Healing Power in Finding Your Innocence, so that people actually have someone guide them through the exercises and, you know, for them to make the time to actually do the exercises as I'm holding space for them and, you know, facilitating them through the experience. You know, it's still something else if you just read through a passage or you have someone kind of facilitate you in the exercise and create that space for you, you know. And so yeah, that was one of my
Well, but again, it's one of those things where I think that, you know, great intentions don't really lead to action a lot of the time. Mm-hmm. And so we're really talking about how do we line things up so that we truly take the action we want. Mm-hmm. And, you know, we're looking at whether or not we have the discipline to create the structure in what we want to learn or what we want to become. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why we're talking about, are you really willing to invest in yourself? Mm-hmm. And I tell you, once I really figured that out, I saw the difference in how quickly my life changed, how quickly I changed on the inside. But if I'm not willing to do that, and I mean invest time, energy, and money in it, if I'm not willing to do that, then I'm not going to get the results I really want.
I hear you. And yeah, go ahead.
Well, I mean, that's what we're talking about when we think about expert mentors. That's really what we're talking about. Are we truly willing to make that kind of investment in ourselves? And there are roadblocks to that, aren't there?
Oh, plenty. And, you know, when you're saying discipline and structure, those are two major things. For one, like, very few people actually come with discipline to begin with. They actually need the accountability to discipline themselves. Once that new habit is ingrained, then it's not an issue anymore. They can, it's just, that's how my program is designed also. It is to become second nature, right? Because I do want you free. I want my clients flying, right? I don't want them dependent on me. I love to work with my clients, but I don't, I want you free. So the whole thing is designed for you to be able to actually live out of that naturally, organically, after you've kind of trained yourself and reframed and, moved through whatever is keeping you stuck. But the intention is definitely for you to be in a space that it is your new second nature. You don't have to think about it anymore. It's yours for life. That's what we're talking about. So the discipline is the one part, and, the accountability, to have someone, hold you accountable, to not put up with your BS, I don't know if I can make the time, 5-10 minutes. Are you kidding me? So, right. So that is that. And then the structure, what you're mentioning, Pat, what I'm seeing is it actually possible to know what structure you need? And that's actually, for someone who's been through it and has actually developed something that is specifically designed, to release, move through, resolve, and create a complete different experience, that kind of structure, that's not something that you kind of throw together in a couple of minutes. This is my life work.
Yeah. But the other part of it, if I might say, is that this is not a one size fits all. No. And what I mean by that is we sometimes create an illusion that what's going to work for me is going to work for Mary. And what works for Mary, the work that you do and the mentors I work with, right? This is where you put your gift and talent into creatively acknowledging the uniqueness in a person and then working on that thing and not pulling some kind of program off the shelf, exactly. And doing it in that way. Isn't that, though, super important for someone that does what you do to really look at people in a very unique and special way?
That's totally where I'm coming from, Pat. For me, nothing else is possible or makes sense. Yes, I do have a framework, let's say, but, the way I work is with each person completely individually within this framework, so although, let's say, I have the frame, depending on where they're at in their life, I might suggest one thing, at a different time, or I will focus on one other thing first, to meet them where they're at and for them to get the best results at the fastest possible way. So some people, some of my clients might need more energetic support, and I'm totally there for that. Some might need a bit more hand holding, and I'm available for that. Some are, and just want to do it by themselves most of the time and have questions here or there, and then we dive into one particular aspect, and look into this. I mean, this is so broad. I mean, I do within this, whatever comes up, from dream analysis through, past life clearings, healings. I mean, psychic readings, channelings. It's not even on what you get, but basically that's what I'm bringing, depending on where you're at and if it's needed,
Yeah. The reason I'm bringing this up is that we live in a very dynamic, engaging, and transformative world right now. Mm-hmm. And so, kind of the things that used to work 10 years ago, even 15 years ago, 20 years ago, that's not what is called for in working with another human being now. We have to have the ability to expand the depth and the breadth of not only what we know, but also have the willingness to say, I'm going to create something with my gifts and talents to help this person in the way they need help today. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, more with Suzanna Jamieson, but more importantly, we're going to be talking about, does expert mentorship make a difference? We're going to talk about that, and we're going to really break it down to what we need. We're also taking your calls, 1-800-930-2819, or we'll take your questions. Go to the Dr. Pat Show or Transformation Talk Radio. Just type it in. But what is your view of expert mentorship? Do you know what it is? And how do you all know whether you are ready for it? Stay tuned. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back.
Demystifying the journey on From Here to There Radio with your host, Diane Garris. Tune in every third Wednesday, 4 p.m. Pacific Time on TransformationTalkRadio.com as Diane helps you get from where you are now to the life you envision. Get ready to get unstuck and move forward. Every show features a new special segment, New Age Notes, demystifying hot metaphysical topics of the day. For more information or to work with Diane, visit DianeGarris.com.
Practice living in wholeness with the body tune-up. 6 classes for $89 designed for radical self-healing and self-regeneration. Heal the deepest root of any challenge. The mental body was programmed in negativity, not good enough, separate from source. You're too much, you'll never make it. The emotional body holds all the pain and trauma of emotional suppression, all the pain from this life and lives past. The spiritual body is the place you connect with your higher power, your higher self, with the image and likeness of the One. The physical body houses and expresses the other 3 bodies every day. Go to CorneliaStephanie.com. Evolve, become a practitioner. We need to heal, integrate, and bring into wholeness and harmony the physical body, addressing all the other bodies in order to live in our true, authentic nature.
Dream on, fly high, and live adventurously on The Laura Meeks Show. Tune in each month on Transformation Talk Radio as host Laura Meeks guides you in finding your unique gifts and bringing them to life. As a certified life coach, speaker, and veteran bomber pilot for the U.S. Air Force, Laura knows how to follow a dream. She is ready to support you so you can dream on, fly high, and live adventurously. For more information on Laura and her work, visit flyhighliving.com.
Stay juicy. Tune in to Your Juicy Love with me, Una Drake, co-hosting monthly with Dr. Pat, and every second Monday at 12 p.m. on Transformation Talk Radio. My show, Your Juicy Love, helps you find the dynamic, life-affirming love you've always wanted. Transform your relationships and bring peace, joy, and juicy, juicy love to planet Earth. For more information, visit unadrake.com.
Are you ready to attract abundance, release stress, look and feel younger, all from your smartphone? Get Pure Light, a free mobile app with audios that transmit powerful frequencies to shift anything in your life. Created by some of the world's top energy healers, these audios have created miracles, often quickly. Enjoy the latest in conscious technology and download Pure Light today. To find out more, visit purelightaudio.com.
Hey, everybody, welcome back. You know, I was saying to Suzanna that I thought, you know, this topic today's show that, you know, we're talking about, which is invest in expert mentoring. I think it is one of the most important messages we can have for a lot of reasons. Mm-hmm. And during the break, we were talking about how even our children right now are under enormous stress. And, you know, a lot of the people that I know, the parents, are hiring mentors for their children, not as a factor of their kids not being smart enough or not doing that well, but to help the children know that there is somebody they can go to get them from where they are to where they want to go. One of the things, Suzanna, we were talking about is what it feels like to take on the world all by yourself, to go it alone. Mm-hmm. And, you know, as I said before, let's give out your website, because this is the body of work that you have so brilliantly created and are helping people get the help that they need, right? So that they can help other people.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, website is justmyname.com, really simple, and if you want to look me up on Facebook, it's also Suzanna Jamieson. Just type in, and there is several pages, other business pages too, but just Suzanna Jamieson should do the trick. So you should see.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. Yeah. Well, listen, one of the things I want to say to you is that this next question is by far one of the most important things for us to contemplate. Okay. How can working with an expert mentor make all the difference? It's not a question of can it make all the difference, because I'm really clear about that, and so are you. But how can it? Let's talk about some real examples. And I think that the thing that, look, for me, I play table tennis, and I am really now interviewing for somebody to help me. Mm-hmm. And what are they going to help me with? They're not just going to help me play better, but they're going to help me learn how to be efficient in the way I play, so that I can play longer in a day, but also longer in my life. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about some examples of expert mentors and what they do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, I love this question, Pat, and, often in life we have, for certain decisions, or like if it's food choices or whatever, when it's about money, like I can't afford that, like I can't afford to eat healthy foods, or or organic foods or whatever. And the question really is, you can't not afford not to eat healthy, because it's like, yeah, but I'm spending more money. Yeah, but if you don't, then you spend more money on doctor's bills, right? So it adds up there. So let's just put it into perspective. Now, when you're talking about sports, there's top athletes. They have mentors and coaches. I mean, the guys are already the best in the leagues, right? And they all have mentors and coaches. Not because the mentors and coaches are better than them, but they add something to their performance, fine tune it, tweak it here and there, make it more efficient, make it so that it's, that they're not hurting themselves. There's all kinds of aspects, that they conserve energy within the exertion, and all of these aspects, and also increase potential, if it's to jump or whatever, recover from injury. It's so broad. Yeah. So the coach or mentor themselves, they're not even as skilled as the person they're coaching or mentoring, but what they add to their lives is priceless. It really is. Yeah. Now, and we know when we're really looking at personal examples, you're welcome to look on my website. I do have more recent testimonials up, and on my website.
I encourage people to do that, because I have found that by looking at who are the people you're working with and what do they say, we do that. Right. I don't select a doctor now, right? That I would go to without really looking at what people are saying and how they're saying it. Mm-hmm. The same thing for our business, and looking at programmers. I'm not going to look at programmers without looking at what what other people have said about them or how they say it. And this is the same thing. But more importantly, I guess, or equally important in the conversation is, don't you want to know how to get from where you are to where you want to go, right?
Well, how to, and also how fast. The aspect is, and I have plenty of testimonials for that, and recent ones, as I said. Yeah. My program is 12 weeks, like let's say the basic program, and a lot of people who come to see me, they've been through decades of therapy, and they're still where they're at pretty much. It's like, yeah, has it helped some? Yes, but it's like, issue is not resolved, very clearly not. They're still getting triggered. They're still having, how they show up in life. They still have subconscious self-sabotaging beliefs running, and that's basically what this is about. Now, the people I work with, they are seeing results within months, which means it's a new life within months.
Yeah, right? Wow.
And a side effect of that, as I mentioned, the True Forgiveness course, and also it's about purpose right now on the summit, Ignite Your True Purpose. And I'm going to do a 3-hour virtual workshop on that soon too. There's actually a 3-hour virtual workshop I'm doing on empowered empaths. That's a new thing I'm launching right now.
And how can people find out more about the summit?
The summit is on my Facebook page. There's images up, and you have to be on my email list.
That's
so
good.
if you get the card deck, you can get into my email list, and I can inform you about that. Or you contact me on my website and let me know that you want to be on my mailing list. That's totally fine too. Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, I'm on your mailing list, because then not only do I get to really know about the new things you're creating, but there's always something that you're opening up. There's always some way to help heal individuals, groups, and the planet as well.
Right.
In this. So I think that's, it's really important for us now. And here's the question. As a matter of fact, I think I'd like to skip the break here. Here's the question. What is our happiness and joy worth? Mm-hmm. All right. And the reason I asked that question is because I had to ask that question to myself. Mm-hmm. But, I can point to times in my life, Suzanna, where I just waited too long. Mm-hmm. I let a situation either get out of hand or got to the point where I was so completely overwhelmed with something that it was hard for me to know that I even needed help. Good news is an angel came along, of course. So let's talk a little bit about what the value of this is. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be different for everybody. But in the end, there's an end game we're shooting for. What are some of the things that mentorship presents people with? Well,
Pat, honestly, with the kind of life transformation that I provide, or basically what I focus on, it is a completely new life, because really what we're looking at are all aspects of your life. Some people are coming maybe, because they had some trauma, but basically as you're resolving that, you're noticing your physical health is improving. You have more energy. You're getting in touch with self-love, which is, an important aspect of the work. Mm-hmm. And as you're healing yourself and coming in touch with self-love, forgiveness happens organically out of that. You can't make yourself forgive someone. It's a natural byproduct from you healing yourself and getting in touch with self-love, in my experience. And also your purpose. I see this right and left. Like each time I work with someone, it's like, oh, I know what I'm doing with my life now. Oh, great. They don't even come for purpose, right? Because often people are, it's like if you ask them, it's like, what do you want your ideal life to look like? It's like joy is not even on the agenda. It's like just getting out of the pain, right? It's like ideal life. I have no idea. I just know this I don't want anymore. Yeah. Right? Stop the pain. Just stop the pain. Exactly. But so as you're healing and everything, all of that is shifting, with the self-love, it's also like, usually in a few weeks into the program, it's like, oh, I know what I'm doing now with my life. Like, great. This is one of the most thrilling parts each time for me, because it's like, oh, they got it, but it's kind of, they received it. It's not like, I got to find my purpose. I got to find my purpose. I got to find my, this is not what this is about. It just comes up naturally. It's like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Oh, great. Now, so, and that in itself is priceless. But the thing is, the tricky part about, what to tell people on what they can expect is it's individual each time. Right. And so it's like, I don't know what your life is going to look like eventually. But I can tell you it's going to be so much more brilliant than what it is now, right? Mm-hmm. So, I want to get back to something you said that's very important. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we have to begin with stopping something, with stopping, whatever that thing is. Maybe if you're seeking better health, then maybe what you do is you stop putting certain things in your body, right? Maybe if you want more money in your life, then maybe
You stop spending money randomly, right? Impulsively. Maybe you do that. Maybe if you want a more meaningful life, sometimes you stop the things in your life that you don't really want to do. So I like what you're talking about, but sometimes, and most of the time for me, I don't see myself very well. Isn't that the core essence of a mentor?
Yeah, that's what I meant with the blind spots.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, and it ties back into we're so creatures of habit. And, you know, as we have the perspective of our lives in that tunnel vision of, oh, this is the only thing that's possible. You know, it's like, this is what I know. I've been doing this for 20 years. That's all there is. You know, my parents lived that way, so that's probably how it's going to be, you know. And so, you know, all my friends live the same way. So that's, you know, that feels safe. Everyone knows this. You know, if I step out of this, who knows what's going to happen? You know, I'm going to lose all my friends. My family is not going to talk with me anymore. You know, who knows? I mean, those are really scary thoughts. And also, like, for people to lose their tribe is a big one. You know, it's like potentially, you know, it doesn't have to happen, and it can, you know, and it might be in everyone's best interest, who knows, but just saying,
right.
You know, be open to that, you know.
Right.
But yes, and so mentor in that, I mean, the first thing is just also what I'm seeing over and over and again, it's like just opening up possibilities.
Right.
You know, it's like someone's coming, yeah, but here, you know, this is this job situation, and, you know, and then I'm looking at the scenario, and then I look, you know, have you thought about this? Have you considered these options? You know, what's coming here is this, this, and this. And it's like, oh my gosh, you know, I hadn't even thought about it, right? But it's just because we're so, you know, and then we don't make the effort for ourselves. So instead of investigating or doing research, we're doing the, oh my gosh, I'm so exhausted, I can't do anything for myself. And then it's like, I need my break at the end of the day, you know, and we're just zoning out on the couch. That's just normal. And then the next day happens, right? It's like, that's just how it is. So this, and then accountability, obviously. So first of all, opening up perspective, giving new possibilities. Also showing that it's not just some vague fantasy, but it's actually doable, you know, kind of break it down into bite-sized steps that are actually possible to take, you know, instead of having this like vision, it's like, oh my gosh, this is huge, I'm never going to be able to do this. It's like, oh, it's not true. You know, let's break it down and look, you know, you can start here. That's your first step. And then we'll have like stepping blocks. And it's like, oh, yeah, you know, when I look at it like that, it's actually sounds actually possible, and then it's not overwhelming. Plus you have your mentor being accountable, like, you know, therefore accountability, right? It's like, okay, you said you were going to do this, you know, I need here, you're showing up, you know, this is what's happening, you know. No, there's no excuse. You know, this is going to happen.
Well, you know, part of the other thing too, and I know this is part of the work that you do, is that, you know, a lot of times we are so thinking that it's our fault, especially with empaths. And we cannot, you know, we can't tell what is mine and what's not mine. And we'll take it all, you know, everything would take it on. Empaths take it on, right? And what happens with that is you lose all sense of discernment.
Right.
And I know for me that some of the greatest mentorship relationships I've had, especially, you know, years ago when I was discovering my own stuckness, was having somebody that could help me see what's mine, what's not mine.
And I want to jump in here, Pat, because this is exactly what my next workshop is about. And it's a 3-hour virtual empowered empath. And it is about not having to protect yourself, because that's a big one for empaths in my experience, like this constant, I got to protect myself, and, you know, and I don't know what's mine, what's theirs, and, you know, this is threatening, or it's too much, it's overwhelming, I don't know how to move this through. And this is exactly what I'm introducing there. So it's hugely beneficial. for people who resonate with this. And I'm actually launching a new Facebook group just for empaths, empowered empaths. So, it's going to be up there too. So
why don't we tell folks what we mean by empath real quick?
Oh, okay, sure. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, we hear the term and people go, oh, no, that's not me. I'm not psychic. We're not really talking about that. We're talking about, you walk into a room and there are some people that are on one end of the continuum and they can feel the energy, right? But then it may not be like that. It may be somebody that on a day-to-day basis works with an employee and is continuously covering for him or her, or trying to fix or mend something, or is really taking on issues or problems or situations or even bad job performance that you're not even doing, right? That somebody else is doing. And we take it on and we take on those energies. It's so hard to tease that apart. And you honestly really need a mentor for that.
Yeah. In my experience too. I mean, I've been through this myself, the whole confusion and also the pain and the helplessness of being with this, or especially when I was doing the prison work, it was extremely helpful for me to have that available. Right. Because, there was no way I was going to get around that energy. I knew it was happening. And to be able to move that through safely, like for myself, and also that I could be in a space to go in the next day and give my best. It's just, I still want to be in my power, right? And not be kind of a victim to my gift, because this is what it truly is. And what I keep hearing is that people experience it as a curse, when it's a blessing. And I do want to put the focus on the blessing and the gift and take the curse out. So that's basically what that is about.
Yeah. And honestly,
and I'm not saying it's not easy. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying it's not going to affect you, but it's just, having a different perspective can be hugely beneficial.
Well, I don't think you and I would be spending this time talking about it if this was easy. But I will say this. If you go it alone and you choose to go it alone, it is not necessarily going to get any easier. And in my experiences, it gets harder.
And longer. It takes longer.
And longer.
Much
longer. We're not living in a world right now where people are wanting things to take longer or be harder, as a matter of fact. You can hear the frustration even with somebody that, is struggling to get their smartphone to work right. Right? But this is really where Expert Mentor comes in. I want to thank you for today. I also want to ask you, about a closing message. I want to ask you, in all your years and the people you've worked with, there's something that and share. What's that personal message? What would you like to leave folks with today?
Yeah, it's really checking in with yourself with, are you living, do you feel you're living what you came here to live? Are you living your true expression and your fullest expression? And are you living out of your highest potential, connected to yourself in every moment? That's the question. And if you're not, and that's your aim, come find me.
Phone number, contact, how can people?
Suzanna Jamieson, SuzannaJamieson.com, website, 415-287-0428 as a phone number, 415-287-0428. And SuzannaJamieson@gmail.com for my email, SuzannaJamieson@gmail.com. Yeah.
Susanna, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And look forward to everything you're talking about. For those of you out there, this is the time where you get to end your struggles. Believe me, there is an easier way. There is a faster way. And we've spent today talking about the possibilities of mentorship, and you're worth it. Thank you, everyone. Stay tuned. Another hour coming
Thanks
up.
For your work, Pat. Bye.
Thanks, Susanna.
You've been listening to Love, Light, Sound Radio with Suzanna Jamieson on Transformation Talk Radio. Thank you for tuning in, and we hope you'll join us next month as Suzanna explores how to align, balance, and consciously create your life. For more information on Suzanna Jamieson and her work, Or to listen to past shows, visit her website at SuzannaJameson.com.
The preceding audio was via a Skype call.